talk about multiplication of whole numbers. Suppose you were asked to multiply 738 by 4. Well, you should do 4 times 8, which is 32. You bring down the 2, and you carry over the 3. Then you do 4 times 3 is 12. And you add the 3 that you carry over. That gives you 15. Bring up the 1. 15, bring down the 5, and carry over the 1. 4 times 7 is 28. Plus the remainder is 29. And since there's nothing else to multiply the 4 by, you can bring down their entire 29. 2,952. If you were asked to multiply this large number by 6, not a problem. 6 times 6 is 36. Carry over the 3. 6 times 4 is 24. Plus 3 more is 27. Bring up the 2, keep the 7 down, put the 7 down. 6 times 1 is 6. Plus 2 more is 8. Bring the 8 down. 6 times 2 is 12. Bring the 2 down. Bring up the 1. 12 is 1, 2. 6 times 8 is 48. Plus 1 more is 49. Since there's no other number, you can bring down the entire 49. The answer is 492,876. Let's try another one. Suppose you have 872 by 34. Since now we have 2 digits, we are going to get 2 rows of numbers. So I'm going to add these numbers together. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 7 is 28. Carry up the 2. 4 times 8 is 32. Plus 2 more is 34. Now we're done with the 4. Nothing else to multiply the 4 by. Since there was nothing else to multiply the 4 by, I was able to bring down the whole 34. Now we're going to multiply by 3. We indent one space. Let me write down the problem so I can put it up again without the writing line. Make it nice and clean. Okay, so we multiply by the 3. Now we indent one space. And now we multiply by the 4, excuse me. Now we indent one space. And now we multiply by 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 7 is 21. Carry the 2 over. 3 times 8 is 24. Plus 2 more is 26. I can bring down the entire 26 because there's nothing else to multiply the 3 by. And now I add these 2 rows of numbers. The x is assumed to be 0. 14 for this column, carry over 1. Those 3 numbers add up to 6. These 2 numbers add up to 9. This is 2. 29,648 is the final. We want to multiply 83125 by 44. First we multiply by that 4. 4 times 5 is 20. Carry the 2 over. 4 times 2 is 8. Plus 2 more is 10. Bring the 0 down. Carry over. There's no lining up where you put the numbers. You don't have to put that 0 right under the 5. And I can put the numbers over here. 4 times 1 more is 5. I can put the 5 over there. Doesn't matter. 4 times 3 is 12. Carry the 1 over. We'll put that 2 there. 4 times 8 is 32 plus 1 is 33. I can put the 33 over there. Now I have to multiply by the next digit. So I indent 1. And then I ask myself, well, what is 4 times, oh, I just did that. Reading from right to left, it's 0, 0, 5, 2, 3, 3. So that's what I write, 0, 0, 5, 2, 3, 3. And when I add up these 2 rows of numbers, this is what I get. 3,657,500. And if I add them up over here, I'm going to still get the same answer. What did I achieve by putting it over here? It doesn't matter where you put the digits. They don't have to be under the 5 or to the right of the 5. You can put the first digit anywhere you want it. That is 83125 times 44. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 2 is 8 plus 2 is 10. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 1 is 5. Etc. I get that. And then I indent 1. I'm multiplying by 4 again. I get the same numbers. When I add them up, here's my answer. I never put this 0 underneath that 5 or right under the 4. It didn't matter. In fact, when I wrote 44, I didn't write the 4 right under the 5 and the other 4 right under the 2. You don't have to line up a multiplication. Of course, when you get your rows that you get up, them you better line up. Suppose you wanted to do 8, 2, 1, 4, 5 by, say, 401. Now, I see lots and lots of students going 1 times 5 is 5, 1 times 4 is 4. And what you're really getting when you multiply this number by that number on top is the product. And sometimes it's a hard product. Like if I ask you, what is this times 9? You don't know the answer, so you have to do it the long way. But if I'm multiplying by 1, you know what you get. You get 82145. 82145. It's very seldom when you do know the answer. So when you do know it, don't do it the long way. In fact, so now you indent 1 and you multiply by 0. Now again, you can go 0 times 5 and 0 times 4 and 0 times 1, and they're all going to be 0. I know what this number times 0 is. It's 0. Now how many zeros you put? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because when you add zeros, it's not going to matter anyways. Okay, now you multiply by 4. 4 and then 2 spaces. 4 times 5 is 20, carry the 2. 4 times 4 is 16, plus 2 more is 18, carry the 1. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 more is 5. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 8, 32. Apparently, we didn't need that 0. We didn't need many of the zeros. We didn't need any of it, actually. When you add the first column, you get 5. The next column is 4, 1, 10, 14, 9, 2, 3. 32,940,145 is the final answer. Now, 427. Well, 7 times 7 is 49. There's nothing else to multiply the 7 by, so I can just write the 49. We indent 1, and now we deal with the 2. 2 times 7 is 14. Same argument. There's nothing else to multiply the 2 by. That is, there's no other digit here that can just write down the whole entire 14. Indent 2 spaces. 3 times 7 is 21. And you'll get 2289. 2,289. This involves us adding 3 rows of numbers. But there's a much, much simpler way of doing this problem. Much simpler. Put this 327 on top and put this 7 on the bottom. 7 times 7 is 49, carry the 4. 7 times 2 is 14, plus 4 more is 18, carry the 1. 3 sevens, or 7 threes, or 21, plus 1 more is 22, and I am done. There is my answer. The same answer, but I don't have 3 rows of numbers to add. Putting the smaller digit, putting the lower number or digit number on the bottom is better. This is a 3-digit number. This is a 1-digit number. 1 and 3. Since 1 was smaller, it's better to put that single-digit number on the bottom. If it's a tie, if they're both 3-digit numbers or both 2-digit numbers, then most times it doesn't matter which one you put on top, which one you put on the bottom. But sometimes it would. For example, if somebody asked me to multiply how much is 4, 4, 4, 4 times 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, both are 4-digit numbers. Which one would I put on the bottom? Well, you know, I don't like this one so much. How about 1, 2, 3, 5? 1, 2, 3, 5. I would put the digit that has the most number of repeats. And here we have it repeating every time. I put that one on the bottom. I'll show you why. 4 times 5 is 20, carry the 2. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 more is 14, carry the 1. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 more is 9. And then 4 times 1 is 4. That is what this number, 4940, is exactly what 4 times this number is. Indent 1. Oh my, I need to multiply it by 4 again. I'm going to get the same answer. Indent 2 spaces. You gotta be kidding, I have to multiply by 4 again. I know that answer. Oh my, I'm so good at this. I know that answer. Indent 3 spaces. Great, I have to multiply by 4 again. 0, 4, 9, 4. I didn't really do the last 3 multiplications. I knew the answer already. 13, 18, again 18, 14, and 5. 5,488,340. Now, if I did it the other way, if I put the 1, 2, 3, 5 on the bottom, 5 times 4 is 20, carry the 2. 5 times 4 is 20, add the 2 is 22. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 2 is 22. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 2 is 22. Indent 1 space, now deal with this 3. This is not a bargain. I actually have to do the multiplication by that second digit on the bottom. In the last case I did it, I already knew the answer. Okay, 3 times 4 is 12, carry 1. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 1 is 13. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 1 is 13. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 1 is 13. Okay, let's clean this up a little bit. 5 and the 3. Now I'm going to indent 2 spaces, multiply by the 2. Well, 4 times 2 is 8. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 4 is 8. Now I indent 3 spaces. Here's the freebie. I know what 1 times that number is. 4, 4, 4, and 4. And I add 13, 5, 18, 6, 18, 14, 5. Minus some error, none. I get the same answer. It was a lot easier to put the that repeats, whether it repeats just times or three times, or the best case is all 4 times. Put it on the bottom. Suppose you were asked to multiply these 2 numbers. Suppose you were asked to multiply this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 12, 12. You have repeats. So let's make it 42, 42. You have the 4s repeating. You have a couple of 2s repeating. And they're both 4-digit numbers. I'm going to put the one that has the repeats in the bottom. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. And 2 times 1 is 2. Okay, now I multiply by the 4. So let's clean it up a little bit. Now I multiply by the 4. Indent 1 space. 4 times 4 is 16, carry the 1. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 is 13, carry the 1. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. And then 4 times 1 is 4. Remember, that came from multiplying by 2, and that came from multiplying by 4. I indent 2 spaces. Oh, I have to multiply by 2 again. I know that answer. It's 2, 4, 6, 8. So I just multiply by the 2. Pretty simple. So I already succeeded through it. Now I have to multiply 1, 2, 3, 4 by 4. Oh, I already did that. Reading from right to left is 6, 3, 9, 4. I got that pretty simple. 8, 12, 5, 16, 24, 13, 12, the minus and silly error, 5,234,628. If I would have put the 4242 on top, well, when I multiply 4 by this number, I get some answer. But then when I indent 1, when I multiply 3 by this number, I get a different number. Indent a couple of spaces. Then I have to go and multiply by 2. Yet a different number. Okay, fine. Multiplying by 1 is pretty simple. Multiplying by 1 is good. It's almost like having a repeat digit. So that one I would know would be 2, 4, 2, 4. I had to do 3 multiplications. I had to multiply this top number by 4. It was 3. I had to suffer through that. 1, oh, that's not a suffering problem. But when I did it to the left, I only suffered through by multiplying the top number 1, 2, 3, 4 by 2, and then by 4. The second to 4, those answers came for free. They were the same as the first time I multiplied by 2 and 4. Be really good if you keep things. Make your life easier. Try one more. 7 714 times 212. I would definitely put the 212 on the bottom for a number of reasons. I have two 2's, and I know how to multiply by 1. That is, if I put 212 on the bottom, I just have to really do one multiplication. Which one? Multiplying by 2. 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 times 7 is 14. And then, I know what 1 times 714 is. It's 714. And now I just learned what 2 times 714 is. It's right there. And then 2 spaces, and you write 1428. I only did one multiplication here. Now, if I did it the other way, if I put the 212 on top, I have to do 2 multiplications that require some real multiplication. The 4 and the 7. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is still 8. Now, I know how to multiply by 1. 212 times 1 is simply 212. So I did that multiplication, and then 2 spaces. And now I have to do a second one. I have to multiply 7 by 2, which is 14. I have to do 7 times 1 plus 1, which is 8. And then 7 times 2, which is 14. 8, 6, 3, 11. 11, 5, 1. And fortunately, we got this answer. But I had to do 2 multiplications. I'd rather just do 1. Take a look. Think about which numbers you should put on top, which number you should do on the bottom. In fact, let's do even one more problem. Sometimes you may even want to put the number that has more digits in the bottom. If you needed to multiply 73 times 22222, I would put that number in the bottom. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 7 is 14. That took care of that too. 2 times that number is 146. And then 2 spaces. 2 times that number is still 146. This one, 146, and then 3 places. This one, and then 4 spaces, 146. It's always 146. 6, 10, 12, 12, 12, 6, 1. Here's the answer. 1,622,206. It wouldn't have been disastrous if you did it this way. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 2 is 6. Who knows? Maybe that was the way to do it. Now, 7 and then 1. Okay, 7 times 2 is 14. 7 times 2 is 14 plus 1 is 15. 7 times 2 is 14 plus 1 is 15. Carry the 1. 7 times 2 is 14 plus 1 is 15. 6, 10, 12, 12, 6, 1. Okay, so obviously something went wrong there. Oh, I didn't put enough 2's. Okay, I didn't put enough 2's. That's where it went wrong. You only had 4 2's. You only had 4 2's. The last row would not be there. Think of that. should not get the same answer. Okay, that finishes the section on multiplication of whole numbers.